Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly pop culture wrap-up. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups. This is the weekly pop culture wrap-up. It's the show where I go over the week's pop culture news, mostly comic books and movies. Let's get right into it. Destro, that's right, the G.I. Joe portion of the Energon Universe expands this June with the new 4-issue series, Destro. Now, we knew that there was going to be 2 more miniseries to follow up Duke and Cobra Commander, and Destro is one of the things that I knew that they were going to be doing, so this is very exciting, but what makes it even more exciting is that it's going to be written by Dan Watters. Dan Watters is by far, in my opinion, one of the absolute best comic writers in the industry today. His work on Lucifer, his work on Deep Roots, his work on The Unfinished, The Picture of Everything Else, his work on Azrael over at DC Comics, his backups on Detective Comics. Everything that he's been doing has been absolutely amazing. Literary, dark, deep, filled with nuance and humanity. I could not think of a single person better than Dan Watters. Now, I was already in pump for Josh Williamson to just do all of these G.I. Joe books, and that's actually kind of what I wanted, but the news that Dan Watters is doing it, that is freaking awesome. The art's going to be done by Andre Brisson, who is actually a frequent collaborator with Joshua Williamson on books like Birthright, on books like Dark Ride. I like his style. I think it's really going to be appropriate for this book, but Dan Watters, the more I think about it, the more I am super excited. He says he's having a lot of fun, a lot of evil fun making this book. I cannot wait. It's going to be a 4-issue series. It debuts in June, as well as Scarlett. They're doing a 4-issue Scarlett series written by Kelly Thompson with artwork by Marco Ferrari. Now, the artwork we'll notice from Frontiersman, which was a decent book, but the art was really solid, so it's kind of just like Andre Brisson. It's kind of the same kind of tone and vibe along with that, but a little bit different. So Scarlett, and this book is going to be dealing with Scarlett going into Japan, dealing with the ninja clans. Sounds like Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, that might be on the horizon somewhere. But Kelly Thompson is a fantastic writer. She's done great work over at Marvel. She's done solid work at DC right now. People are really liking her Birds of Prey book. Me personally, I love her Hawkeye run that she did with Leonardo Romero for Kate Bishop. But over that, one of my absolute favorite licensed comics of all time, Jim and the Holograms. So Kelly Thompson is no stranger to taking these beloved franchises from the 80s and adapting and molding them and making something fresh and cool for the comic book market. So we got Destro, we got Scarlett, both 4-issue series debuting in June to expand the G.I. Joe portion of the Energon Universe. Then we've got Universal Monsters Frankenstein debuting from Skybound in August. Skybound's just killing it right now. Between the Energon Universe and then you add in all the Universal Monsters stuff, we already had a really great Dracula one from James Tynion and Martin Simmons. We got the upcoming sequel to Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives by Ron B. and Dan Watters, and now we've got Frankenstein by Michael Walsh. That's right, the artist and the showrunner, basically, of Silver Coin is back, and he's doing Frankenstein. Now, this one is going to be about like a little interior side story for Henry Frankenstein during the events of that first movie. He's like robbing body parts, but he comes across a child of one of the people whose body parts he has pillaged to make his monster. I'm really pumped for this. Michael Walsh is a great artist. He's really great at horror. All the Universal Monster stuff has been great so far. I say that knowing that only one is out so far, but I cannot think of a better horror franchise going in comics right now than what they're potentially trying to build with Universal Monsters. I love the Universal Monsters. I love these creators. I love comics. I am overly excited for this. We got The Power Fantasy debuting from Image in August, written by Kieran Gillen with artwork by Casper Wingard. I love Casper Wingard. I picked him as my favorite artist in comics last year. It was All Against All, some of the work he did on Night Terrors, the issue of Swan Songs that he did. blows me away. I love that you can distinctly tell that it's a Caspar Wingard image, but at the same time, he's shifting that style to appropriate the tone necessary for each book that he's doing. Look at the clean, raw sophistication of Homesick Pilots. Compare that to the charcoaly, grittier texture of All Against All. I'm really excited for this one. Kieran Gillen likes to play with power fantasies and stuff like that. So what this is each country has like a superpower, and instead of like a nuclear option, it's like a superhero. So nations live and die with their superpowered individual. It gives me vibes of things like The One by Rick Veitch, right? But I'm really excited to see what Gillen and Wingard can do, especially that team. I think together on an independent, creator-owned, no dictates from a corporation, I think this is going to be pretty solid. Definitely one to check out. Then we got Mind State. That's going to be a Comixology original that debuts next week, which is going to be written by colorist Lee Lowridge. So Lee Lowridge has been a really solid colorist. In fact, right now he's coloring the Dan Waters and Ron B books, Six Fingers and The One Hand, which are connected, and they're really great. But this is him as a writer. He will also be coloring over the artwork from Mac Chatter, and this is about a clairvoyant who's been recently disgraced, and he finds a case that he thinks can help him kind of reclaim some of his reputation. So it seems cool. It's going to debut on Comixology next week. So if you have an Amazon Prime membership, I believe you have access to it. And I think it will be released in print at some point in the future. Dark Horse typically has been doing the Comixology original reprints in physical media. Then we got Zatanna, Bring Down the House. That's debuting in June from DC Black Label, written by Mariko Tamaki with artwork by Javier Rodriguez, who you'll know from things like the history of the Marvel Universe or that Defender series with Al Ewing. He's got a really cool, old school, interesting graphic style. And if you look at his conversations that he's been having revolving around this book, he's talking about how much this world of magic is allowing him to show that through the comic book page in interesting and innovative technical ways. So I'm really excited for this artistically. Also very excited because I'm a huge fan of Zatanna. I think she's amazing, a great character, an underutilized character, and usually not a very well-utilized character, but I'm really excited to see what can be done with her on a DC Black Label book outside of continuity with a little bit more of an edge to it. Then we've got X-Men Heir of Apocalypse. This is a 4-issue series debuting in June and running through July from Marvel, the House of Ideas. This is going to be the final Krakoan comic as far as I am aware. Apocalypse needs an heir for some reason. He's holding a tournament. He's putting a bunch of different mutants fighting off against each other to declare one victor the heir of Apocalypse. But this is the final Krakoan era book right before the Tom Brevoort-led relaunch starts from the ashes. We'll see what happens there. Will I read this one? I don't know, because I'm so unplugged from the Krakoan era. I tried to get in to just see how it was going to wrap up. Wasn't really working for me, but this is going to be written by Steve Fox, who's writing Dead X-Men and X-Men 97 right now, with artwork by Nitho Diaz. Saw a couple trailers. I watched the trailer for Arcadian. It's a Nicolas Cage-led movie that's releasing in theaters in April, and it's about our world has been overrun by these creatures. We don't really get to see the creatures. We don't know if they're aliens. We don't know if they're from the Earth or whatever, but it looks like Nick Cage's character and his two sons are holed up in their cabin or something like that, and these things keep every night coming back and attacking them, and eventually they're going to have to fight their way through. The trailer looks cool. It looks very similar in tropey to things that we've seen like this before. It gave me Quiet Place vibes, maybe even a little bit of Signs, Night of the Living Dead, that kind of a thing, but a little bit different of a creature. It's got Nicolas Cage in it. It's probably going to be worth checking out. Then I saw the trailer for Infested. This is releasing in April in the US on Shudder. This is a French film from the guy Sebastian something. I should have written it down. He's the director of the next Evil Dead movie that's coming. So apparently Sam Raimi saw something in this movie, which was released last year, but in the States it will be released in Shudder or on Shudder in April. This is a killer spider movie, but it looks pretty good. It looks kind of cool. This dude collects spiders. He collects insects. They're like his pets, arachnids and insects. I know that I've read enough Spider-Man. I know that technically a spider's not an insect, so I don't know why I said that, but it looks like he has insects and other creepy crawly type things that he collects. He gets this one spider, it disappears, all of a sudden there's an infestation of killer spiders. Sure, we've seen this before, but why not see it again? Because spiders can be creepy. Never kill spiders in your house though, let them out. Unless they're poisonous and deadly and you have cats, and kill the shit out of them. Anyway, so that's what we got for you this week. What's coming up here at PCP? The continuation of March Madness tonight on Dylan's Horror Show. Join Dylan, join me, and the rest of the crew as we talk about Train to Busan. That's right, it's kind of like Korean horror movie weekend here for March Madness, because Monday night on PCP Movie Night, we're talking about The Host, another Korean film. It will be my first time watching both of these films, my first time discussing these films publicly. Very, very excited for that. Don't forget Rockin Robbie Live, Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. We're going to have a blast. So, thank you so much for checking out the video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment below any of your comments about any of this news we covered or anything that we potentially missed. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on living, keep on loving. Station. Pop, pop.